All right, welcome to the first MusicoPhiles musical interview. I'm DJDean, and I'm really excited. I'm glad you guys are here with us tonight. We have the one, the only, Mike DeHays of Imphomal, all the way from Indiana. How you doing there, brother?
I'm all right, Dean. It's good to see you, man.
Same here, man. It's been a long time. We go back a long ways, back to our Air Force days back in the 80s when we were in a band together, man.
That's awesome. I'm so glad we're still in touch, man.
Me too, man. I've considered a blessing that you and I are still friends. And since we're in this mode for a second, we'll give a big old shout out to some of our brothers out there like Jim Wright and Joe Martin. And, just send a little love out to our Air Force bros.
Right on, man.
Cool, man. So listen, I am so excited for you, bro. I got to tell you. I mean, you have been a musical, I have been an admirer of your musical tenacity for years. Okay, you have just, you have the musical heart, and you've always been persistent and your tenacity to continue pursuing your music career. I just admire the heck out of it. So I just want to get that out of the way first about you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Dean. But it's not a conscious thing that I do. It's just I can't help it, man. That music has got to get out of me, or it would just probably drive me crazy, So
absolutely,
I'm just keep doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, you're an artist, man, and that's what whatever your art is. If you have that art gene, it's gotta have to come out, and yours has always been music, and I get that because I've been fortunately surrounded by people who are that type of genetic makeup. And I love that. Exactly. I personally, I got like a little touch of it where, like your whole body, okay, is my whole body is more like fills up your little tiny tip of your finger, I
don't know about that, dude. You got skills where I don't even have a clue. So
well, thank you, brother. So let's get to the down to business here, man. So you and I have been doing kind of the music thing for years. We were in a band called Condition One overseas in Okinawa. That's how you and I met. And you were a bass player back then with a twist, because there was always a song that we would play, and you pulled out a cello during those days.
Yeah.
And was that the Jim Wright original Condition One? Was that the cello song?
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
Yeah.
So, Emergency, man. And that was the first time that I remember, seeing a rock and roll dude pull out a cello. And I'm like, wow, we're a rock and roll band, and Mike's playing a cello, and this is kind of bad. I love this, But I knew that's where your creativity was. You're always looking to do something neat and different with, the songs and the arrangements that you and Jim would write.
Oh yeah, the cello was actually my first instrument, and so I'd been playing the cello since the third grade. So and bass guitar, I only picked up in junior high school. So. And that wasn't too long before I joined the Air Force, as looking back at it now. Then it seemed like forever from junior high school to being in Okinawa. But yeah, it really wasn't that far of a jump. So I was still a fresh bass player. And but yeah, my true first love is the cello, certainly.
Well, it certainly has come full circle for you in your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, because now I don't play bass anymore. I just play cello all the time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but tell me a little bit about your musical journey. So you said you started playing just, the bass, and you played, did you ever play in a band in high school, or were you in a rock band back then, or?
Yeah, actually I was still in junior high school, and there was some friends of mine, there was a guy in school that came into the orchestra when I was playing cello and string bass. I was going back and forth between the two. And he played a 12-string acoustic guitar. And this guy was cool. His name was Tommy Balbo. And I hope he hears this. But he came in and the orchestra was going to do Hotel California with him on 12-string guitar. And it was cool, man. I enjoyed it. And Tommy was like, man, you're playing that on string bass, because I was switching back and forth between string bass and cello. And he said, you should play electric bass. And I said, what? I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah. So he's like, well, my brother's got a band, and we can go check out their rehearsal. It's not far after school. Let's go check it out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And so his brother let me play his electric bass that day, and it was all over. I was like, man, I got to have one. So yeah, I worked all summer on a paper route and saved up enough money to buy an amplifier and a bass. And it was an Aria Diamond bass, which I think I still had. No, I did not have it in Okinawa. I left it in Mississippi. Sad story. I'll get back to that. But I got that bass, and the very first year that I got the bass, my friend Bob Bainline, his dad was a member of a club, and they booked weddings in the upstairs auditorium. And the wedding band dropped out at the last second, and he said, hey, can you guys put a band together? So we put a band together called the Minutemen, and we went in and played a wedding.
Because you put it together in a minute.
In a minute, yeah. It was not an original title.
Yeah, but it works, man. It was apropos.
Yeah, so yeah, we threw it together and played the wedding, and they paid us. And it was like, wow, that's cool.
We could make money with this.
And get girls.
Yeah. And get girls.
So it was great, man. So after that, I was hooked on the bass guitar for many years. And I played in rock bands, country bands, blues and jazz, and just about everything, I suppose.
Now, during those early days, what were some of your musical influences, man? Like, who were you listening to and going, I that's some serious bass stuff right there. I can kind of apply to what I'm doing.
Yeah, I never really listened to, I guess I did listen to bass lines because I wanted to figure out how to play what they were playing, okay? Like Hotel California. That was like the first song that I learned because I already knew it on string bass, and so I was playing that on a bass guitar. And to me, it was really easy because it was just not a stretch like that big old huge string bass, It was a lot less work, so it was really comfortable. So I was listening to Joe Walsh and the James Gang heavily at the time when I got my first bass.
Oh, dude, I remember you brought that into Okinawa. Because you were all about the James Gang back then, man, for sure.
And Joe Walsh.
And Joe Walsh.
Albums and stuff. Yeah, I still love them to this day. So I was listening to that, and my neighbor had this huge album collection. He had all the Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. He had Buffalo Springfield, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Wishbone Ash. He had this huge collection, and he would let me borrow one or maybe two albums at a time. And as long as I brought them back unscathed, he would let me take two more.
Nice.
So I was listening to all kinds of stuff.
Man, so you had your own little private checkout library.
It was album-oriented library.
Nice.
AOL.
Nice. Your influences, so James Gang, I don't know if this would be one, but I know that you turned me on to Firefall. Strangely enough, you were, again, back in Okinawa, there are certain bands that I associate with certain people, and James Gang and Firefall was big with you for me. I remember you being a big, you would be like, dude, listen to these harmonies, man. Listen to these harmonies.
Yeah, Firefall, to this day, they're harmonies, and the Eagles, of course.
Right.
But, I mean, Firefall's harmonies are just killer. I love that band still.
Yeah. It's still Sweet and Sour is still like my favorite song. And I think, again, you turned me on to that,
That's cool. My favorite song by them is called Dolphin's Lullaby.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out because I'm kind of like, when it comes to Firefall, I got the greatest hits, So I'll have to look for that one.
Dolphin's Lullaby. Yeah.
That's part of my musical journey right now is, I always thought I had a pretty good wealth of knowledge when it came to music, but now I'm kind of revisiting bands that I kind of got their greatest hits. But never dug into their catalog.
Oh, yeah, man.
So I'm spending like time with bands and going, how did I not ever listen to some of these, B-sides or other songs on these albums from these bands that were phenomenal, you know?
Yeah, there's songs on there that are probably their best work that nobody ever heard if all they got was the greatest hits. Because a hit, at least back then, what made the hit, you know, or their single that got radio play was not always the best song on the album. It was the most catchy one.
Absolutely. Absolutely right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I grew up in this small group. You know, I'm around the guys that would loan me the albums and other couple of close friends that we listened to everything together. And we were like totally against greatest hits for that reason. 'Cause we'd be like, well, where's that song? Where's that song? You know?
Right.
So we would always play a whole side or a whole album, usually a whole album, but at least a whole side. We would never just play one song. It would be all in at least 20 minutes worth at one dose.
You know, and that's part of the reason why I started MusicoPhiles, because I am on this journey of discovery of these music that I should be aware of. I'm aware of the bands. I'm certainly aware of the hits on the bands, but I'm not fully aware of the full front to back album stories that some of these bands have you know, shared.
Yeah.
Through these releases of these LPs, that now I'm like sitting down and I'm listening to entire albums front to back, and I'm going, wow, it's a whole. Again, I appreciated it through the years. Right. I would certainly do it, but not to the, you know, listening extent that I'm doing today, which is it took me almost 60 years to get here. But
that's awesome, man. It's awesome because you're doing it, and it's a great journey, man. And you're listening on vinyl, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I am wherever I can. I'm going back to vinyl, you know. Yeah, cool. But I'm on. That's its own kind of journey. That's at the same time, you know. If I don't have it on vinyl, I have no problem with throwing it on Spotify and listen to that album front to back, you know, that way too. So, but if I can get a vinyl copy, I'm definitely going to lean on that direction for sure. So
I love music and I love albums especially, and having the vinyl, especially if it's like a gatefold where you can open it up and study the artwork and the liner notes and everything.
Oh, I know. It's like a religious experience. It really is, you know? And I love reading all those liner notes and the little details about stuff that you go, wow, I never knew that. And it's a tactile experience holding the album in your hand. And something that's not just a little square this big, just a nice piece of hard cardboard that's like a book, you know? Right. It's a wonderful feeling.
Like a book. Yeah, excellent. I'm glad you're doing that, man, and I'm glad you're sharing it with us on the internet, man.
Thanks, brother. I mean, it's just like your art. I just sometimes feel like I have to express it, the love I have for the music.
Awesome.
So you've been playing bass for, you know, now almost 35 years at least, right?
Well, I bought my first bass in 1978.
Okay. So I'm terrible at math, and my wife will laugh at me and then my kids are probably laughing when they hear that, because they know I can't like add and subtract in my head like this. So
I guess 42.
So 42 years you've been playing, and you've obviously traveled a journey to where you are now with Imphomal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit how Imphomal started.
Well, you know, because you were in a band with me in the 80s, early 80s, and I always played cello, but I always wanted to play it in a rock band too, but I was never able to. Because
those things are tough to sling around your shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it was always because rock and roll is rock and roll. It's loud and it's raucous, you know, and stuff gets knocked over, and you can't just be like kicking a cello around, you know. So it was just difficult to use it in that atmosphere, and it was hard to hear it, and there's no frets, so if you can't hear it, you can't really play in tune. It's just muscle memory, you know, which is not always 100%.
Right.
So I struggled with it, and so on occasion I would play a song here and a song there in a band with cello, but never was able to really use it the way I wanted to. And then one day I was watching something on YouTube probably, and I saw this kid. To me, he looked like a kid. He's a real young guy, red hair, and he's standing there with a little guitar, and he's at like Wembley Stadium or something, and it's an arena completely filled with people, and he's by himself on stage, and he's playing this guitar, and he's filling up the whole arena with sound. And I was like, man, that's Ed Sheeran is who it turned out to be.
Right.
All right. And I had never heard him. I didn't know what he did. So I started reading up, and he's using like computer equipment and loopers and all kinds of stuff to get that sound. And it just dawned on me right then. I was like, holy cow. And I had an electric cello already, but I never knew that I could back myself up with it.
Right,
you know?
right.
So after playing bass all these years, I got the bass parts down, and I've been playing cello, so I can do the middle parts and some melody and stuff. So I was like, man, I'm just going to start throwing it together. So that's how it came about, Ed Sheeran.
Nice. Well, big shout out to Ed.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Ed. And he's a master. I mean, there's some guys that have really mastered what I'm doing, but I don't care. I'm having a blast, and I'm getting better at it all the time. And it's just fun to be able to accompany yourself on an instrument that you enjoy playing. You know,
I have to imagine it's also easier to get gigs. Because there's a lot of places. First of all, opens up the gig market because you're not gonna just do clubs and bars, which is as a band where your kind of bread and butter is. But now we were talking about, just before we started the official interview. We were talking about, piano bars and how people go to a place and they just, want to hear a little background piano music, and while they're talking, they go, oh, that song, the piano players, I know that song. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, but they're still talking. It's a market. And well, why not the cello bar, because now you can do that.
Okay, all you venue owners that hear this.
Absolutely. Listen, I personally think I'll never forget in Okinawa, there was a little club, if you remember, called New York, New York. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And
I do.
It was very much a very, they were trying to be like a very elegant New York skyline with a very mellow jazzy vibe where the music was not blaring, because pretty much any club you went to Okinawa the music was just cranking and you couldn't even talk to the person next to you. It was so difficult to converse. But I liked New York because you can go there, sit down, they have the jazz playing, but it's quiet, and you could just converse with, whoever you were with. Well,
right, have a good time.
Right. Well, that's the whole concept behind a piano bar. And now I have to imagine you're seeing, because I see you posting, and you're posting pictures of you gigging, and people are enjoying eating and chatting while you're out there performing.
Yeah, in fact, it was just like... 2 weeks ago, I think, a lady came up to me and she just said exactly that thing. She goes, you know what? It is just so nice to be able to sit back and have a conversation and enjoy your music and not have to yell or lean into one another.
Absolutely. It really facilitates intimacy,
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, intimacy.
Right.
I'm talking about just human contact intimacy, where people can sit and talk and learn about each other and not have to be fighting against the elements and the volume in the elements. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, there's a place for that, but I'm not a dance band at all. Although I've been in little jazzy clubs, and a wedding party has rolled in at 11 o'clock at night, and I've had the dance floor full in front of the cello.
Really?
That's
awesome.
And, it's not something you would ever expect, and I was digging it because when people are dancing, you can actually see the what you're playing. You know what I mean?
Right. The effects of what you're playing.
I'll tell you, it rarely happens. So that was a fun night. But
I mean, can you break into Earth, Wind, and Fire September with that? Do you remember?
No. I would love to. Yeah, but no. Oh man. So yeah, I had to think really hard. Okay, what's in my repertoire that even has kind of a beat, that they can dance to? Because they wanted to dance, and I was like, okay. So I was actually just using my looper and just making stuff up, and just laying down a good bass line, and then playing whatever over it, and they were fine with that. It worked, So,
awesome. Now I so you started doing these gigs, and you're doing cover music, and you're doing songs that people can recognize. But now you have your first Imphomal CD of original music.
Yeah, I do. I have one here. I don't know if you can see this.
I can see it pretty good, but I promise you that when I edit this, I'll make sure that it takes over the whole screen.
That's cool.
So tell me how that came about.
It's on occasion, I was working at a church over in Elkhart. Faith United Methodist Church is the name of it, and I was involved in the music program there. And on occasion, they would ask me to come in and play my cello. All right, so the cover songs that I do, you know, they were not really appropriate for playing at church, although I've played some of them there during the fish fry or some different events, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so I sat back and I said, okay, they want me to play something for Palm Sunday, okay, or Ash Wednesday, or something for Easter, or something for Christmas, all right? And so I had to just sit there and think, what am I going to play? What am I going to play? And it just, in my opinion, God told me that, hey, Mike, just play this, all right? And I would wake up in the morning and I would have a complete piece with all the different parts in it in my head, and I'd be able to hum out the different parts. And it would take me sometimes a week, sometimes up to 2 months to figure out how to play it. Because it's not something that I knew how to play. It was always stretching me, you know, making me work hard at it. But it was in my head, and so I tried to get them out. And so all these songs started coming to me over the last few years, and I've just been keeping up with them. And that's how I got all this original music. Not all of it was made for the church, but the music keeps coming to me, and I credit God with that, because I don't know where it's coming from. You know, it's not me.
Right.
If I sit here and I try and create something, I'll get so frustrated because it'll never flow right. It doesn't sound right. And it's just, it doesn't work for me that way. But I think God's given me a gift and said, here's some music, go play it, you know? So
nice.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Nice.
That's where the originals come from.
Do you write actual, like once you get through the humming and you've developed, you know, what you're doing musically, do you transpose that? Or do you like know how to write notes and how to put it on sheet music?
No, I don't. I mean, I read music, okay, and I could write music, but it would take me forever. It's like these days I type a lot on a computer, all right, and when I go to write something, it takes a while because I have to slow down and kind of relearn how to write in cursive and stuff. So it's the same thing with writing music. If you don't do it all the time, it's slow, man. It would take me forever. Right. So with modern technology, I could actually play it and play one part at a time into a software program, and it will print out the music. And then you read the music, and just if there was a mistake, you just adjust that one note, you know. So there's software. Have
you been doing that? Or you're not doing that at this time?
I don't see the point, because I can take a sound recording and copyright it and release the sound recordings on CD. Nobody buys sheet music anymore.
Right.
You know.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of how do you I mean, when you're given this music, you know, spiritually, you know, you know, and you start humming it, how are you remembering day after day the exact way that you hummed it the first time? You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. No, I didn't hum it the first time. Okay. I heard it in my head.
Heard it, the whole composition?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So, and I'm listening to it, and it doesn't go away. Like, I was trying to remember some song it was actually a Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass song called A Taste of Honey.
Oh, I know it very well.
I want to play that. Okay. I really want to play it, but I don't have that in my head yet, you know?
Right.
So I'll probably just loop it on my house system and let it play over and over until I get it in my head.
Right.
But these songs, they come to me, they're complete and they're in my head, and it's just there. I got total recall on them.
Wow.
And it's not something that I knew. I have to learn them, you know. But
yeah. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. You know,
I love it. But the thing is I can't force it. All right. And I've tried, like, honestly, and I have a lot of faith. All right. And so I've learned to not push things. Don't go beat your head against the wall. It's not going to get you anywhere. You just got to let it happen. All right. So I sit back and I pray, and then I wait. And sometimes it's been literally like the day before. All of a sudden I'll get something complete. And then I have to learn it and play it like the next day live in front of people. So
wow.
That's a challenge. All right. That's a big challenge, but I think that's by design. Okay, Mike, here's your answer. Now go and do it. So I got to stay up all night sometimes, and just learn it and get it done. But I've always been able to do it. And not once have I been let down and not had something to play. I've always had a piece that was complete and ready to go.
God is good, baby. God is good.
God is good. No doubt. God is good always.
Now, do you have an like obviously, how many cuts did you have on this CD you released?
There's only 7 on this one.
7 on this one, but you have other like are you ready for Imphomal 2?
Yeah,
and 3 and 4. Wow.
4 is going to be a spiritual album. Okay, so I've got 1 is already done. 2 and 3, I've got the music already recorded. All right, because I was recording for 1, and I guess I wasn't thinking about how much time all these songs were taking,
right?
And how much you can put on a CD and reasonably think that people are going to sit down and listen to it,
right?
So I got all these songs recorded, and I started looking at it, and I had a few hundred minutes worth of music, and it was like, whoa, I can't use all that on a CD. So I had to pick and choose what kind of flowed together.
Right. What thematically worked for one release?
Yeah, and honestly, I was struggling with that because it didn't come to me in order, and it didn't come to me and say album 1, album 2, album 3. It just all came to me. Right. So I was struggling with it, and then I sat back and said, okay, I'm just going to let it happen. And honestly, I have a program on my computer where I can put each song on a different track. All right, so try different orders and move them around. And I just threw them all in there, and I moved a couple of them, and then I hit play, and I sat back and listened, and that's the album. It literally just came to me. And I like the way it flows. I don't know have you listened to it all the way through yet?
Not all the way through yet. Again, and I have not received the CD yet. That you were
really?
sending. Yeah, I haven't gotten that yet. So what I'm available to me is through SoundCloud.
Okay, all right. That's difficult because it doesn't sound good either.
Yeah, it's certainly not the optimum way, but I've been listening to it and I love it because
I can't believe you haven't gotten that yet.
Just recently I was talking. I posted about 30 years ago I never would have thought that I'd be listening to Windham Hill music. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I found myself kind of, on occasion recently when I just want to relax. I'm just like, and a lot of times I'm doing something, productive, but I just want music in the background because I have to have something in the background. My wife's like, why do you always have to have something playing? It could be the TV. Well, because that's just the way I operate. I have to have some kind of, something preoccupying my subconscious,
Right. Yeah.
So I think for me, your Imphomal release is perfect timing for me because I'm at a point where I'm actually very much enjoying these musical paintings, where I don't have to have the lyrics spelled out for me. I don't have to even concentrate on that. It is just an ethereal experience. Which is really what your Imphomal release to me has become.
I struggled with that too when I was doing the recordings because I know how it is. I know how it's supposed to be, and I've been playing them live for a while, which it's hard to perform them live, the way I hear them. I've always done my best, but when I came in the studio and started working on them, I was able to put it all together. And then, one of the songs on the album is over 10 minutes long,
right?
And it's like a no-no in the
unless you're Yes or Genesis,
right. Yeah, yeah, there's groups that used to do it, but
Right.
it's no longer allowed, you know?
No,
And
well,
so I struggled with that.
people don't
And I
have
was
the
like,
attention span that they had, 20 years ago right now.
but so I know they're just gonna hit fast forward anyhow, but that's the way the song came to me, so I just let it happen.
You got to deliver it the way it was intended to be
Yeah.
delivered. Absolutely, man.
So there's 45 minutes on this first one. That's where I drew the line. I was like, okay, and that's just the way the songs fell out. It's just shy of 45 minutes. So yeah, but it's exciting to know that and I keep getting new music all the time. But I don't know, I'm not sure how to release all this. I don't think people are listening, like you said, the attention span. I think maybe I should release one song at a time, like one every other week or something for the rest of my career.
Hey,
what do you think?
Well, that will keep you on the Spotify charts. Imphomal has another new release tonight on streaming release on Spotify.
Right. So and that way it's not a lot to ask people to listen to one song.
Right.
And then it gives them time to digest it and listen to it a few times. And it's typical with any music that if you hear it 3 times, you start to like it. If it's not terrible.
Now, I know you said you had really nice feedback from playing the covers that you play when you're out performing and people can talk. Are you getting feedback from about your original music when you're out there?
Absolutely, I'm getting requests for them.
Nice.
And the most requested song so far has been this one called Usonian Dream. And Usonian Dream came after I spent it was at least 6 months, probably closer to a year, and I get interested in something, and so I'm a voracious reader. Okay, but not only that, with the internet you can watch old interviews and documentaries, and just there's a world of things out there. So I got interested in the work of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Okay, the architect, sure.
Yeah, and I've always been a fan of architecture, and I was always interested in his work, but I really decided to take the deep dive. And so I read everything I could read, even his autobiographies, his biographies, any video interviews. He did one with Mike Wallace when Mike was a chain smoker. It was a really old interview.
He's on like 60 Minutes and he's just smoking throughout the whole interview?
It was way before that, yeah. He's chain smoking and Frank Lloyd Wright's sitting there.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly today.
Yeah, right? It was cool, though. So, I watched all the interviews. I watched video tours of buildings that he designed, houses that he designed. Just you name it, man. I watched everything. And then a couple movies that were about him and his life. And then I read just all kinds of things, including looking at floor plans. And I was totally immersed in it for a long time. And Frank Lloyd Wright developed this style of architecture for the United States. All right. He thought that the United States of America needed its own style of architecture because every country or region has their own style. And the United States really, it didn't really have a architectural style. It was borrowing from here and there.
Right.
So he came up with this style. It was strictly organic. And the materials for the home came from the site where the home was built. So every house was different. And they were oriented different, using the sun for heat in the winter and the shade for cool in the summer. He designed it based on the site with materials from the site, and he called it Usonian, the U.S. being United States.
Oh, okay.
So Usonian architecture was Frank Lloyd Wright's idea of what American architecture should be. And it was affordable, too, for the common family. The houses were very affordable. And they were absolutely beautiful, and I just fell in love with them. And one morning, I woke up, and this piece is in my head. And a lot of times this happens, too, where I think, what am I going to call this? And right then, a name pops in my head that it's the title. There's no second guessing myself. Right. That's the title. And I heard that song, and I was like, wow. And that morning I came out and I grabbed my cello and I was just playing a little what stood out, the melody, and I played it and I was like, what am I going to call that? And it was like Usonian Dream. So and that's what it was. It was
As we like to say, Mike, bam.
Bam. Yeah.
Bam. It was there.
I crammed all that information in my head, and then God said, "Hey, out it comes."
Right.
Make that. So, Usonian Dream, and people request that. They love that song.
How long is that song?
How old?
How long is it?
It's about 7 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let me see.
Would you be able to give us a little excerpt?
Oh, actually, Usonian Dream's only 4 minutes and 11 seconds.
Would you be able to give us a little sampling of what it sounds like?
Like play it live?
Yeah. Would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, I can do it. You want me to do it?
I would love that. I would love to have my first performance on my MusicoPhiles show.
Give me just a minute. I'm going to dial it in. All right.
Of course, man. I am so excited. I'm going to go back to while Mike sets up, thanking everybody for tuning in to the MusicoPhiles. That we have Mike DeHays here with Imphomal, and Mike is an extremely talented bass player and cello artist, and he is doing his own thing with original music and his Imphomal release. So yeah, this is a pretty exciting time. Exciting for me to be able to sit here and chat with Mike.
Okay, so I'm not exactly positive how this will go because I've been sitting here talking and not playing, so I'm coming at this with fresh hands.
Okay.
Cold hands.
Well,
so I'm going to go ahead and lay into it. This is what I call live looping, okay?
Okay.
I do two different things when I'm entertaining with the cello. I use live looping, and then some songs like Dust in the Wind, for example, there's a lot going on there. It would take a half hour to lay down all the parts live in front of the audience. So I pre-record some of the parts right into my looping station using this cello. But on Usonian Dream, I build the song from the foundation up, just like he built those houses.
Right.
And,
okay.
And that's how it came to me. I heard just the bass line, and then the rest of it kind of builds and builds on that. So I'm going to play it for you. So here's how it goes. Live looping. It's a truncated version of it.
Dude.
That's Usonian.
I love that, man. I love that.
So thanks, Dean. Thanks.
Oh man, I love that. I could just like close my eyes and just vibe on that, you know?
So that's the way I like it, man. And it just comes to me, and I can't play it differently, you know what I mean? That's just the way it was delivered.
Right,
so.
right.
And I like it. I enjoy doing it, you know. So.
And listen, my hat's off to you, because you know you have obviously dug into the technology. You have had to. I'm sure you had many hours of experimentation of what works, what doesn't work, to be able to just suddenly on the request of of me or DJDean, or I could be just representative of anybody, of a request to do a song that you didn't really, we did not talk. We talked about doing maybe a song. We did not talk about what song. We did not talk about, and for me to just throw that at you, and you delivered big time, man, big time. just like that. That's impressive as all can be, dude.
Well, it seems that way now, but man, for 2.5 years I struggled. And the technology, I'm using a Boss RC300 looping station, and an Eventide H9 Max effects pedal. And you've got to adjust things on the fly as you're doing the live looping. Wow. And when I first got that equipment and was trying to learn how to use it, it took me 2.5 years. And because I'm a slow learner, you know, but listen, it was like throwing a third arm out of your chest, you know? It was like always in the way, you know, and it was terrible. I would forget things, and the song just stops, you know. Right. Or you play a bad note, and it repeats over and over the same bad note.
So, have you actually had that happen to you?
Oh yeah. It's punishing, man. It's punishing.
I'm sure.
It's downright brutal, you know. So you have to be on your best behavior, and for that reason, Imphomal and alcohol do not mix.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't. Sure it doesn't.
And I've tried. I enjoy a glass of scotch on occasion. But man, I swear, like 3 sips of scotch, and all of a sudden, those things are happening. You know, so. It demands all of my attention and clear mind.
Absolutely. Well, that was wonderful, dude. I am like so, I don't want to say impressed, because it sounds like, you know, I don't know, condescending, but it is. I'm so overwhelmingly impressed with what you just did, and proud of you, bro. Yeah, I did, absolutely.
Well, here's my thing with all of this, because having this opportunity to make this music, all right, to me is a lifelong dream, okay? And I'm so grateful that God's given me this opportunity. And the music, to me, I can't live without it. And it brings me peace of mind. it brings me tranquility, and it brings me joy, a lot of joy.
Right.
So my hope is that when people go see this, or if they're just listening to it in the background at wherever I play it, or if they're listening to the CD in their car, I hope it brings them those same things: tranquility, peace of mind, and joy.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. And it really is representative of your heart, having known you for, gosh, almost 40 years. It really is just a true representation of you as a human being. So,
except like when we were playing like Rock You Like a Hurricane,
Yeah. Yeah, or what was that, Loverboy with Dave Nickerson doing my high vocals on the drums.
Right. That dude could sing, couldn't he?
He could sing. He could hit that note, man, for sure.
Those were a team, man.
Yeah, because he's going to fly.
Yeah. That was up there, wasn't it? Yeah, the vice grips. We used to say the vice grips.
The vice grips, exactly. That's funny. So, okay, we talked a little bit about maybe playing a little game, guess that, name that tune.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, let's see if you can throw a couple at me. Let me see if I can name the tune.
All right, this one's not going to be easy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, you're pretty. I call you a little shout out to DJDean here. All right, as long as I've known you, you've always been what I call a musicologist, man. Not only the band and the songs that they do, but who's in the band and all these details, man. It's just amazing. And the wealth of knowledge that you are is outstanding. So I don't think I've got anything in here that I can stump you with, but I'm going to try, okay?
Okay. Give me what you got, brah.
All right, here comes the first one. It starts with a bass line. All right, let me go. Okay, here it goes.
Dude, I think you have stumped me on the first song.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh, I'm totally digging the bass groove, man, So, but I'm trying to listen for, even the remotest chorus sound that
Okay, so the artist is Miles Davis.
Oh, Wow. Okay. Whoa.
All right. It's my favorite, like one of my favorite albums of all time. The song is called All Blues, and the album, I believe, is Kinda Blue.
Okay. I know. I'm familiar with the album Kinda Blue, but I'll be first minute. I was not expecting a Miles Davis composition.
Right on cello, right?
Cello.
But, why not?
Well, absolutely. Dude. Let me tell you, it sounded bad as can be. It was great. I was digging it. I just couldn't name it.
Okay, let's try something a little
contemporary.
Contemporary, right.
And the classic rock realm. How's that? That I'm usually better with that than I am with the jazz stuff.
All right, let's try this. All right, you ready?
Yeah. Hit me. I'm getting this one. There's a part of me that wants to say it's "Call on Me" from Debbie Harry and Blondie. No. Call on me. Dun, 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 dun,
it's newer than that.
Oh.
Okay. You want me to tell you what it is?
Absolutely.
It's called "Heart-Shaped Box" by Nirvana.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah. You are now. See, I'm totally not living up to your how you played me out to be.
But Dean, it's hard, isn't it?
Very hard.
When you're listening to it on cello, so not only the melody might sound familiar, or the bass line, or the rhythm, or something, and yet it's completely different instrument, and there's no lyric there.
And
without the lyric,
it really is. It becomes almost a completely different song. But this is part of what I love about this is that one thing I hate about like people who like play cover songs, and then they release them, because that's a popular thing for especially new bands. They want to get heard, so they'll take a song and then they'll just recut that song and redo it there, and it really is nothing added to it. It's just like there's no that cover song doesn't sound any much different than the original sounded, and I'm going, but what you're doing is you're really completely reinterpreting a song. By necessity, because you're performing it just on the cello, but it is being reinterpreted and rescored in a way that works for you.
Yeah, I have to do. I'm a big fan of Clint Eastwood movies, and there's a thing that Dirty Harry always says in all of his movies, I think, and it's a man's got to know his limitations.
Absolutely.
All right, I got 4 strings and 2 feet. I guess 4 fingers, and all the effects and everything, but it's limited. And my playing ability is also limited because I'm human, and I didn't play it my whole life. I was playing bass guitar, so I switched around. So I haven't devoted my whole life to this instrument like I should have probably.
Right.
So yeah, I have to tailor make things to stay within my limitations, and also to try and represent the song so people will get an idea what it is. But I stumped you on that one.
You definitely stumped me on that one. That was awesome.
What happens when I'm playing in restaurants and such, when there's people listening, they're doing the same thing. You were going like snapping your fingers.
Yeah, because there was something so familiar about it.
Right.
But there's no way I would have put my finger on it.
Okay, so the table, if it's a table of 4, they'll be talking amongst each other, and I'm watching them do it. They're going, oh, that's Debbie Harry, you know?
Right,
and
right.
They're going, no, that's not it. That's not
Right.
it. And they're having conversations about what it is I'm playing. They don't know, but they're trying to guess.
Right.
I've even seen it turn into drinking games.
That's funny. That's funny, man.
Blast. All right, and it's really fun for me as a performer when I'm playing, and a lot of times they're just talking, and I promote that. I'm like, please, you know, you don't have to clap, you don't have to acknowledge me. Just enjoy your evening and relax and have a good time.
Right.
I'll try to
let the music just be a part of your atmosphere.
Right. So for the most part, I like it when they just go about their business, you know. But it's funny when I'm playing certain songs, I'll get about a third of the way into the song, and then all of a sudden I hear this collective,
That's great. That's great.
It's
now,
funny,
let me ask you, so do you not play do you ever pick up the bass, electric bass, and play with, you know, any of the guys that you've musicianed around with for years still, or are you strictly informal now?
I'm strictly informal now.
Well, right? I'm sure because it's keeping you busy.
It's keeping me busy, and it's I've been blessed with this opportunity, and I'm trying to just keep doing it because here's the thing. I told you in 1978, the Minutemen got their first gig as a wedding band, okay? And we each got paid $100, all right?
That's like $1,000 in 78.
Yeah, right. So, and especially for a junior high student,
right,
you know, or almost high school, you know. I think I was in a freshman or something. And so anyhow, that was a big deal, all right? But now if I go do a bass job tonight, I'll get $100.
Right.
It's 4 hours, and trust me, it's not all about the money. It never has been about the money.
Oh, of course not. No, not with you.
Right. If it was, I would be a lot better off.
Right,
you know?
right.
But it's never been about the money. But 1978 to current, and a band member. This is all band members. It's not just bass players. All band members are still getting $100 a gig.
Right.
And it's to me, it's
sad and shameful. Absolutely.
Yeah. So all the equipment and the training, the hours and hours of practice and maintenance, and we put so much into it. We pour our hearts into it, and it still pays the same. But what I'm finding, at least with Imphomal, is I can go do a gig and it's just me.
Right.
All right. So I can make more than $100.
Absolutely.
I'm playing the part of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people.
Right.
You know? So it's a lot of work on me, and I feel blessed that I'm able to go out
and you really are offering a wonderfully unique sound and experience for a venue to bring in.
Yeah, it's definitely not the normal thing around town. Or
no, but you know, I from what I understand and what I see on your website and what I see on your Facebook page, your gigs are picking up. People are finding you, discovering you, and going, you know, we like this, we want this, you know, and not for nothing, and not that, you know, it doesn't. What you're doing is perfect for this really bizarre social distancing period where people don't want to congregate and pack each other and scream at bands and dance, but they can have this different experience while still maintaining their distance with this virus stuff and enjoying the atmosphere that you create.
Right, and that's important. Everybody has to stay safe.
Right.
All right. The virus is real, and so there's venues that are allowed to be open. Indiana is freer than some states,
right.
You know, that we can still go to a restaurant, but not every table is available.
Right.
And they have dividers up between the tables so that, you know, projectiles don't fly or anything. And, but it's still, we're allowed to do that, but it's not a good idea if you get a bunch of people in there singing, because
absolutely
it throws things out. And it breaks my heart, you know, that because a lot of the bands and musicians that I like are singers, you know, and
sure.
I want to go hear them. And it's not available as much now as it has been in the past.
No, it's tough. It's definitely tough for the industry as a whole. You know,
it's terrible.
Terrible for the industry. It's actually decimating. It's decimating the industry. You know, but you know, I'm gonna again props to you, dude. You're finding this niche that is perfect for this time of period, and I think will be perfect for any time period after the virus. But in particular, right now is a great time for you to thrive with what you're doing with Imphomal.
I got to tell you though that I saw Ed Sheeran doing it, and I made up my mind I was going to give it a shot. And like I say, 2.5 years, I didn't leave the studio. I didn't play for anybody until I went to a Halloween party with a bunch of fellow musicians, and they let me play there. And when I played, there was dead silence when I finished. Dead silence. Like,
wow.
It freaked me out. And then they clapped and stuff, and it freaked me out so much that I forgot the second song that I was going to play. So I quit.
Wow.
I quit. But that kept happening, and then I realized that it's different. It's just different, and people are excited to hear something different.
Absolutely.
But back to the times that we live in, there's definitely places that have hired me because I don't sing, and because I can set up in such a tight little area. I can set my whole performance rig up on a half a sheet of plywood.
Right.
So 4 foot by 4 foot.
So like a small restaurant, because they have to eliminate every other table to create the distance that they need to be able to stay in business right now. That's exactly right. They can plop you right in that spot where a table would have been. You're not singing. You're not spitting. If you had to, you could wear a mask and you could perform.
Right. Yep. So it's a blessing to me. And I had none of us had any idea that this was coming.
Of course not.
All right.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and even myself, I thought 2020 was going to be my year that I could get Imphomal out there and start developing a following and get places to hire me to play there. And I was really looking forward to it. And I didn't have a job from the beginning of March until July, and that's a long time to go without income.
Absolutely.
And this is my livelihood here. So it's been devastating. However, I keep doing it because it's not about the money. All right. I have to do this. I just honestly feel like I have to be doing this. So I'm going to keep doing it. And you're right about the bookings. They're coming. And I'm grateful.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to start wrapping up. So give me a couple of things here. Tell me, how do they get in contact with you if somebody wants to book you?
Okay, the best way is go to imphomal.com. That's www.imphomal.com. And Imphomal, I say with IMP and heavy on the IMP, if you follow me. And so
I think I catch your flow.
Yeah, I like playing tricks on people. So with trying to wait as long as I can before I give away the song as to what it is. But anyhow, Imphomal.com is my home base, and you'll find my schedule there. You'll find my email there, and there's also going to be a chat function where we can communicate back and forth on the website.
Nice.
And because things are changing all the time, I just want to have one central place where they can come find me. But the music's available all over the internet, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. Bandcamp is my home base for selling digital downloads. They treat me well, whereas Spotify, when you listen to my songs on Spotify, they hardly pay it.
I use Spotify, and I'm very frustrated that their lack of taking care of the artists. They
don't. Yeah. And it's just that, I guess it's the nature of their business model. But so I put it up there because it's convenient, and I want people to have this music because I want them to get that tranquility. All right. But I also have to make a living. So
of course,
Bandcamp takes really good care of their artists. In fact, during the whole COVID thing, they've been doing certain Fridays on a regular basis where they'll offer up all the music for download, and they don't even take a cut. Bandcamp will just do their part for free.
Oh, nice.
And they give 100% to the artist.
Nice.
So
I never even heard of these guys. So that's it's a big shout out to them. Yeah.
And just do a search for Imphomal or Imphomal cello, and you'll find me. And but email imphomal@comcast.net, imphomal.com. You can catch me. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and the music is just available everywhere.
And they can order the hard CDs if they want to, and they can do that also through your website.
There's a link you can click and just tell me where to send them, and I'll send them. I can't believe though it seems to be a problem, because you should have gotten your CD by now.
I'm sure it's stuck somewhere, because Florida is a bit wacky when it comes to
everything. I think is a bit wacky right now. Yeah. So I'll look into that. They're open tomorrow morning, I think, for a little bit. So I'll try and get to the post office and see what's going on. But anyhow, I can ship them if it's anybody that's nearby me. As I go to a gig or something, I can drop them off. Or
so you're based out of South Bend?
Yeah, that's the closest big city. Mishawaka is actually my home. And but I play anywhere within probably 100 miles of here right now.
Okay.
And I'm looking to branch out. I really am looking to branch out. I want to, there's nothing really tying me to this area.
So you can travel. Someone from California says, I'll fly you out. I want you to do a wedding. It's a socially distanced thing, but I think you'd be perfect for us. If they take care of those flights and pay you your fee and take care of your hotel, you're there, man.
I'm there. And like I say, my setup is really small, so it'll travel well too.
Right.
So I have this dream right now where I think I'm going to get a small motorhome, like a camper or something, or a bus or something. And I just want to take it on the road and play for different people. I don't want to, the people around here have been so generous and kind, and they come and see me, and it's beautiful, and I'll always call this home. But I just want to go and see the world.
Of course. There's a young artist that I really, really like, and I hope one day I'll be able to get him on the show and interview him. His name is Christian Lopez. Young kid. You may have heard me.
I saw him at your recommendation. He's amazing talent.
Very, very talented kid, young kid. Yeah. And he will literally, through his website, you can contact him. And how I met him was we had one of our nearby neighbors said, hey, listen, do you do shows? He goes, yeah, I'll come out anywhere, And I guess he gets paid whatever he gets paid, $400 or $500. He has a band, but he'll come out by himself, set up his guitar, and he'll do an hour and a half set, for in your driveway, which is what he did with us. He performed. We set up right in the driveway. I kind of facilitated it with some lighting. I brought some of my DJ lights and kind of lit it up a little bit for him. But we had a concert right there. And that's how he keeps money coming in when as a musician. Right. No reason you can't, be popping around the United States with Imphomal, getting, gigs and performing wherever wherever you need to travel. Because like you said, your setup, your rig is an easily transported system. You can pretty much go anywhere.
And it's nice when I do show up for a gig or a performance, from the time that it leaves my vehicle to the time I play the first note is less than 15 minutes.
Man, so you can get stuck in traffic, be running a little late, and still start on time.
On time, and when I'm done, I can be back in the car and rolling in 15 minutes.
There you go.
Which is unheard of for a band,
Right.
So, and I like that because the staff, if they're working there and it's closing time, they don't want to wait on you, So I come in, set up, and play, and then when it's time to go, I take off, man, and. But it's just I like traveling light. Obviously, this cello's slimmed down.
Right.
Quite a bit. And it's not any longer than the bottom of the screen. There's let me see if I can lift it. It's heavy. The stand is heavy, but so that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. So Ned Steinberger made this, and he's a genius. He made all those guitars and the basses in the 80s that had the headstock cut off on them.
Sure.
And that was his very unique design that really worked out well. I mean, ZZ Top was using them, Rush was using them, everybody. And they're amazing instruments. And then he decided to make a series of classical instruments. So he's got 3 different lines of classical instruments available, and they're wonderful.
That's awesome, man.
And it goes over your shoulder. It's nowhere near as heavy as a bass guitar, and I don't need a monster amplifier. It's so much fun, man.
Right.
I'm having a blast, Dean.
Hey, before we book out of here and end this, I got to give you one more props, dude. You got the style thing going on, man. You got the look is awesome. I love the hat. I love the style. You're just the whole. You're bringing the whole package when you show up. You know, you really are the whole vibe that you're delivering, the music, the look. It's all a package, and you're doing it fantastically, man.
Thank you, brother. I thought it out, a little bit. The logo, you can't really see it on the screen probably, but
no, you can see it actually pretty good.
Well, there's an acoustic cello in the background.
Okay.
And I just kind of dimmed it out, and then I put this modern design cello like the one I'm playing here,
right,
over it in yellow. So it's the old and the new kind of blended together. It might be hard to see, but I did that. This hat, that band job I did in 1978, I had the same style of hat.
Nice.
And I just remember how comfortable it made me feel wearing that hat when I played. And so when I decided I was going to do this, I went looking, and I found the same hat that I was wearing in 1978. So, and then the jacket, I looked for a few years in thrift shops, never found anything, but finally on eBay I found one. And this I took off a Chet Atkins album cover.
Nice.
Yeah. I said, man, that's a sharp looking suit, So I looked for it. And while I was learning how to use my technology, I was also thinking, how do I want to present?
How do you
myself?
present? Absolutely, man.
So I always try to, it's informal. It's not formal.
Right.
So no tuxedos. Sometimes I will wear a tie, like a Pink Floyd tie or a bass clef tie.
Right, right.
But I try to keep it informal but a little bit tidy so that I'm not coming in a t-shirt and jeans and
No, I love it. Yeah, there's a photograph of you in black and white, and you're kind of like looking down, and I just think it's a phenomenal. I actually used it when I posted about on the Facebook page that you were going to have this interview with me. I just think it's a beautiful photograph of you. It's just well framed. The black and white is perfect, and it's screaming informal vibe.
Right. So I got to give credit where credit is due. That photograph was taken by a young photographer here locally. She's from South Bend. Her name is Darcy Lynn Young.
Oh, Darcy Lynn Young, man. You did an awesome job on that picture.
I'm telling you. And she has, it's uncanny. I look at a lot of different photographs. She does all kinds of different subjects. But the way she sees light and captures light on things, and I think that's what makes that black and white picture look the way it does, is it's her eye, man.
Right.
She's an amazing talent, so look her up online.
Yeah.
It's worth your time.
We'll definitely do that. But yeah, it was a great photograph of you. And listen, dude, I'm so glad that you carved out some time for me.
It's my pleasure, Dean.
Your old Air Force buddy, to sit and chat for a
little bit.
I love you, brother. I love you too, man. I love catching up. This is really the first time we've kind of played with the technology, just getting ready for tonight. But this has really been a great time for you and I just to pick up a little bit where we left off 40 years ago and just catch up. And we do the Facebook thing. I love that you're always encouraging and positive. And listen, you are a blessing in my life still, and I really appreciate that, brother. So
likewise, brother. Likewise.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode of our first episode of MusicoPhiles. Mike DeHays, Imphomal. Check him out at, what's the website?
Imphomal.com.
Imphomal.com. Not in, no N. It's M. Imphomal.
IMPH.
Exactly. IMPH. Formal.com. Check him out.
You're going to splash it on the screen, right?
I am. I'm going to have it up there for sure.
Thanks, brother. It's on the sign behind me.
It's on the sign. I've got like a little third graphic below you as well. Informalist at Informal. So you're there, brother. Please
awesome,
support Mike, buy a CD, but also support your local musicians in your communities. This is a tough time again for musicians. Throw them a little support, show them a little love if they're selling CDs, and if it's something that you can enjoy, buy the CD. Let's try to keep the music going through this difficult time and well beyond in the future. On that note, again, Mike, thank you. Everybody, have a great day. Have a great night, whatever time or day you're watching this. Have a great one. We love you guys. We thank you for the support. I thank you for the support. And God bless you all.
God bless you. See you, Dean.
See you, Mike.